it takes over. Blood is running, heart is pumping as the battle gets closer. They can say what they want now, 'cause we'll be screaming now. We can be heroes everywhere we go. We can have all that we ever want. Swinging like Ali, rocking our bodies, standing on top like a champion. Keep your silver, give me that gold. You remember when I say we can be heroes everywhere we go. Keeping us down is impossible. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable. We're unstoppable.
Good afternoon, Summoners, and we welcome you to the 2018 Bacchus Pro Gaming Series Spring Split. We are now at our quarterfinal stage of the playoffs, going in to our new format. My name is Vulcan. With me is Atlas, your shoutcasters entering Match 1.
Match 1. This is going to be pretty exciting. Like, I leave for a few weeks and then suddenly I go to the playoffs. Naga is in the playoffs after such a slump in the middle of the split, but then they do so well. They 2-0 TME, and now they're here facing off in the quarterfinals of our playoffs here against Team Manila Eagles.
Which is actually a surprise. Note that TME, they are the defending champions, and now they got 2-0 by Naga. This is actually, in a way, a rematch for TME, and if they don't do their best here or try and find something that, you know, the mistakes they did against the NE, they might face the same fate what happened in the group stages.
That's true, because so far TME hasn't been performing as consistently as they can. Because looking at the standings so far, look at this. They're around the middle of the pack, we're like 4th place right now. And even though they are pretty good individually as players, right now they don't seem to be doing as consistently as they used to.
And when it comes to our new format in the PGS Spring Split, you can see that this will be our format for the playoffs. Note that it will be a best-of-5 series, a single elimination time. For our first match, it will be Team Manila Eagles versus Naga Esports. And on to our match 2.
Match 2, yeah. Later, it'll be Imperium Pro Team versus Parsi X-Ray Esports.
Which will be at 5 p.m. So, I think our viewers are pretty excited to know that who will face in the semifinals against TNC Pro Team. Note that, if you see it right now, guys, it will be the highest remaining seed facing off against TNC Pro Team. What does this mean? If ever, let's say TME does win this, whoever's at the highest seeding, and you can just look at the standings to recap yourself who is at the ahead part. And as for Minaski, they will be facing against the lowest seed, which is a difficult task.
Yeah, much more difficult. These two teams waiting in the semifinals have been so strong. They're so good in the drafts, their macro, and their execution of those plans. So it's going to be very exciting. But first, we need to get through these steps first of the quarterfinals.
And now let's go to match 1 on what happened with TME versus NE when it came to the group stages, because they got 2-0 by Naga Esports. And it's actually heartbreaking knowing that we are now entering the quarterfinals. Single elimination type. This will be TME's last chance to get a rematch against NE.
Definitely, and this is, after all, as you said, single elimination in a best-of-5. This is a test of endurance, of skill, of how much these teams can adapt. And if you got 2-0 in the group stages, of course, and with a team with as good an infrastructure as TME, they should have the time for that practice, for that research, for all of that preparation they need for this rematch against Naga Esports.
And when you're talking about Naga Esports side entering this match against TME, they have every, let's say, right to feel confident because, hey, we actually do what you one time in the group stages. Why can't we do the same right now? So we need to know, does TME have a plan to try and face off against Naga Esports?
Because what happened in their group stages was Naga Esports had a pretty strange draft. They drafted things like brand support, and that unconventional way of drafting actually helped them get through that 2-0. It seems like TME wasn't prepared for it. they faltered to the 5-man gangs onto the top side, and rather the bot side rather, and it just seemed so different from. It's like the ideal way that Naga Esports would play in the group stage.
Yeah, that's what worked for ME. They drafted in a way that caught TME by surprise, and as Atlas said, science support and an 8 brand support, that would catch anyone off guard. But also note that when it came to the mid lane, Rebenga is really, instead of setting things up for Iconic, he is now setting things up for Calculated.
Definitely, and I think that's the ideal way that things should go, and how you, instead of trying to patch up one of the struggling lanes, you just allow them to survive on their own and then focus on what makes the team strong in that particular matchup.
And which is Calculated against Trevor. And note that Trevor, he has been playing rather inconsistently throughout the spring split, but still, this will not stop him. He is trying his best. He is playing his best entering the spring split, but let's get straight to the matchup rundown of Team Manila Eagles versus Naga Esports.
This is definitely going to be very exciting. We've got JLC, of course, who has been so well in the matches that TME has. He's been carrying hard in the top side.
Yeah, in a way.
Yeah, and you've got Coops in the jungle, Trevor in the mid lane, Rox and Marky as the bot lane duo. As for Naga Esports, of course, Iconic in the top side, Rebenga playing in the jungle, Calculated in mid, and Neep and Luxuria will be in the bottom lane.
And as for Naga Esports, they can still stick to the same strategy they had in the group stages. But one question I have in mind is, I want to see Coops really perform in the jungle.
That's true.
Because lately we've been seeing him farming until the 20-minute game. It's like, in a way, not really intervening in the lanes, not helping the top or the mid.
Yeah, that's true, because in this meta, where the junglers are so defined by how much they can apply early pressure, like Sejuani, you've got Jarvan, even Skarner rose up in the ranks when everyone else got nerfed. It's how they actually pressure from level 1 all the way to like level 6 in terms of the laning. So if you're just a really farm heavy, you have to make it count after that. But it doesn't seem like Coops consistently does that. And Rebs, he is able to put out the pressure with the help of his laner. And I think that's really the key to how they won against TME the first time. It's not just the unconventional picks, it's how they got mid priority and bottom priority using those picks that they've had, constantly pushing in their opposing laners, pressuring them so that Rebs and Calculated could do everything that they wanted. Neep could roam, and it was just a slaughter.
And when you talk about roaming and lane pressure and priority, yes, we see it all the time in the mid lane when it comes to Calculated versus Trevor. I mean, 2 skill shots and you clear the wave with his previous game with his Ari. Just go to the bot lane, roam it down, and that's what happened to TME. They struggled. So let's see. Is TME in their top shape right now entering the quarterfinals? It's actually going to be a big question because NE, they've been constantly performing well. They've been constantly improving and growing throughout the spring split. But when you talk about TME, the defending champions, they have been struggling all throughout the spring split.
And that's really quite a problem there, because these players are also talented. We saw in the previous split, they were all so good in each of their roles. The roster hasn't changed, so they've had a lot of time to grow and stick together. And maybe it's the new meta, maybe it's the new dynamics between the teams, the other teams rather, but they have to adapt to that. And I'm sure that with the help, they have a sister team, they have that infrastructure, so they have a lot of ways they can deal with these blunders that they've had. So I'm expecting TME to bring out their best here. I expect them to really have recovered from that 0-2.
And note that when you're entering this quarterfinals, anything can happen. In a way that, let's say, some things worked for us in the group stages, but entering right now in the quarterfinals, you can expect that the teams will have something prepared new for them. And now, let's get straight to the drafting phase of Team Manila Eagles versus Naga Esports. This will be our first game of match 1.
And that really sets the stage for the rest of the match, maybe even the rest of the day here. TME immediately bans out a lot of Naga's good picks here. Calculated's Ari and then his Talia puts out a lot of his roaming potential. And the Maokai that Iconic plays a lot, that's actually one of his safety nets where it's very low econ, so even without a lot of gold, even though if Rebenga doesn't put a lot of attention on him, he can perform very well.
And when you're talking about champions that perform well in lanes, Note that GLC's Camille has been performing well, and we are okay, guys. We're still not yet sure. Will this be a Camille jungle or Camille top? It can be flexed. But seeing how Naga Esports, they're banning out the Cyan, which is right now kind of overpowered in the patch 8.4.
Oh, that definitely.
We see it all the time. Cyan can outpush, outsustain the laner. And also the fact that Ban of Command is actually kind of OP. Paired up with the Baron buff.
Yeah, just having that Baroned up and then bannered up again, cannon minion against those turrets, it can shoot beyond the normal range of the turret, so it just goes down quickly. But looking at the draft once again, banning out the Galio as well, it's one of those anti-magic picks we've seen. Mid lane has a lot of roaming potential as well, and a lot of tankiness that you need. Varus, of course, banned out against Marky. As for Naga, they're very clear in their plan. We see Iconic here on one of his more popular, let's say, coming back from his previous league, the Fiora here. So a lot more carry-oriented top laner. As for Luxuria on that Xayah, Rabenga playing that Skarner, as I said.
And Skarner entering this patch 8.4 is rising in popularity, offers the same pressure in a way that you expect from junglers at this point in the patch 8.4. And for Team Manila Eagles, look at this. This will be a last pick onto the Jarvan, so this will be a Camille top. So let's see. Can Coops offer the same pressure as Rabenga did with his Jarvan? Because when you compare Rabenga's and Coops' playstyle, Rabenga has the upper hand when it comes to kill participation.
So it really needs to be how Coops has adapted to how much he needs to pressure his lanes. As for the second rotation of bans here, there's really a big focus on Neep here, just putting out a really big bot lane dominance here with the Alistar, as well as the possibility of just enabling Luxuria so much with Zillion. As for Naga Esports, they didn't want to deal rather with the power that Zac has, that long-range initiation that could be dangerous. Even though Jarvan was left open, they could have been preparing for that. And the Tristana, of course, from Marquee. And look at that, a Nivea in the mid lane from Calculated.
This is actually not a surprise, knowing that when we always talked about this, even in the last week, the patch 8.4 really boosters, gives a free boost when it comes to champions who really scale off mana. And we see this in Rise, we see this in Anivia.
And we see both of those in this game.
And I think this is actually weird because when you talk about Anivia, in a way, you have to wait until is it the 25-minute mark or the 30-minute mark before the Anivia can be really useful. But Rabenga can boost that speed up when he intervenes and helps the lane out.
That is very possible here if Rabenga gets him going. However, Rabenga has his attention split in this game. He has to decide, because Iconic here, because JLC is a very strong contender in the top lane. I think he is one of the best top laners we've had in the PGS in history. And he's going to be facing up against Iconic, and this is his first split in the PGS. I think that Rabenga might need to put a little bit more resources on him, but coming from the philosophy earlier where I said, go to what makes you strong, Calculated might be the key here with this Anivia pick.
So, in a way, Annie is trying to struggle between two balances, top or mid, but knowing that it still follows the same playstyle for Calculated, clear the waves out, roam. Can he roam as effectively as an Anivia compared to his Ari picks when we talked about TME and Naga in our group stages?
It's definitely going to be difficult because Anivia is a pretty slow bird, but I think that he has a lot of control potential in the mid lane. He can always have mid priority. You cannot outpush an Anivia once that champion has the items that he needs for the mana sustain, for the wave clear. So it's as much of trying to roam as much as denying Trevor's possible roam. Because if Trevor leaves, that Blizzard in the mid lane will just topple over the turrets in that lane.
And you can expect that for these two mid laners, they will be roaming. They won't be laning against each other, but will be laning against the top or the bot lane and helping out the lanes here. But as we all say on the ref, everything is really decided on execution. We'll be loading up to our first game of match 1 of the quarterfinals. Here it is. I mean, all comes down to execution. We saw the drafts. We know their playstyles. We know the strategy entering this match 1, game 1. Can they pull it off here, Atlas?
It's going to be very difficult here. I'm pretty sure TME has the preparations they need, so it's not just the momentum of NE here. They have even a playing field with their preparation. It seems like coming into our lanes here, just regular lines of scrimmage. Don't want to risk anything too hard in the first game of the match here. Interestingly, looking at JLC and Iconic, of course, this isn't that strange. Going for the Relic Shield or the Ancient Coin Start. It's gold revenue. It's not, it doesn't gimp you as much as you would think.
And kind of interesting to see that if you look at the keystones right now, it's loaded up. You can see that JLC is running the Klepto on Camille, same as for Iconic with his own Klepto. So when it comes to top lane, looks like I don't think either Iconic or JLC will have the upper hand in outscaling each other.
Yeah.
It's about them boosting up their own scaling.
Yeah, definitely. And this all just comes down to getting as much gold as possible.
It's all about the money.
Yeah, it's all about the money here with these gold earning item starts as well as a Klepto. So looking at the jungler starts here, they will be starting on opposite sides. I do think that Skarner needs that blue buff very well. Let's see if Rocks and Marking can get the cheese here.
That will be them warding that brush. So no surprise there for Naga. Looks like for TME, they know that they can't perform the cheese they did against NE. Note that this is not their first time facing against each other. They have faced off against each other during the group stages where NE, they got the 2-0.
Yeah, that definitely. Those wounds are very fresh here for TME, and I'm not sure, or rather, I'm sure that they don't want to sustain those once again. And looking at that, the footwork coming there from Luxuria to dodge the cheese there was pretty well done, because that lane, that could have changed the momentum of the lane so much if he had to walk elsewhere.
And when you talk about the cheese and the bot lane, but knowing how the junglers can change the playstyles, the dynamic, note that for in the mid lane, we're seeing minion dematerializers for this Ryze, this Anivia. So it's a matter of who can outpush who and who can roam the most and provide pressure towards the bot
dangerous.
lane.
Ooh, wards that just in time.
Close call for Calculated there. Coops trying his best here. This time we're seeing Coops being more proactive at least.
He's trying to go for some deep vision possibly, or trying to get some camps. Iconic in a little bit of trouble.
Ooh, he's really not trading well with his Camille. Despite the vial spots being shown, JLC, he's not scared. He has to sustain from the tactical sweep. Not just that, he has to be careful. Note that Fiora has that annoying parry, the riposte. He can clearly deny a lot of damage from JLC.
That's true, but the tactical shield that JLC gets upon trading makes him so much more favorable in trade, because it's a lot less conditional than the vital spots. Having to position yourself might put yourself in a dangerous position, or just put yourself in a bad spot in the wave. So I do think that JLC has a little bit of an advantage. However, Iconic is doing pretty well at 24 CS. It's about a wave ahead of JLC as he's pushing him in.
This is actually bad because we're seeing right now Rebenga approaching the ball like Predator is up. Rebenga sees his prey, and that would be first blood secured by Nate.
That is very aggressive coming from Naga Esports there, knowing the spots where Marquee and Rocks are strong in the lane, and as soon as they get within range, they go for it.
And knowing that they have been pushing themselves too much, that favored Rebenga's, spot just the right time, giving the first blood to the support. But for NE, at least they are trying to slow down Marquee, but we're seeing Coops in the side of the brush in case NE goes for a dive, but highly unlikely.
Highly unlikely, especially against this one right here, the Rakan. You don't really want to dive that early in the game. Could be potentially dangerous.
Could be a double kill if things go bad, but didn't happen. So I think for NE, they know how TME plays, because Rebenga did play on TME's side. So you see this intel, you see the way that NE is playing, trying to know the weak spots, and now we're seeing Rebenga again visiting the lanes as much as he can.
Just really amounting a lot of pressure on these lanes. It doesn't have to be a kill. It doesn't have to be a summer spell even. As long as Rebenga makes his presence known, then his laners can have a little bit more breathing room here, which is what Iconic really needed there.
I mean, all the time that we see Rebenga roaming towards the top. You see JLC not yet establishing any vision in his side. So this is more, as you said, Atlas, more breathing room for the players of NE. But for TME, knowing JLC, will he be scared knowing that, okay, Rebecca can visit me, but should I be scared?
Definitely a little bit, because he's not starting this Camille off straight up with a lot of trading potential, a lot of combat stats. So it's not as potent as what a Camille playing to have a strong early game would be. Because here it's like Iconic and JLC have had this trade agreement where, okay, we're gonna pressure each other. We're not, we're still at war, but we have Klepto, we have these support items. Let's just farm it out for now. But the pressure is really important here in trying to stifle the income that Iconic gets here.
Oh, Iconic goes for the face check, gets the Hex, the ultimate. He's not going anywhere. This could be a kill for TME, and Koops will pick it up here.
That's pretty nice for Koops. They're getting a kill for himself, and an assist for JLC puts him quite ahead there. It fixes a lot of the problems that Koops usually has when he struggles with the early phase of the jungling. And with that, he could possibly apply even more pressure here. And because Tracker Snipe got deleted from the game here, ooh, it might be a little fight here.
Oh god, Rebenga in a bad spot. He tried to go for the invade here. Realmor's coming in. Will they cut him off? No, he's too fast. He's not gonna get caught there. Flash in by Nave. There's the wall. Calculated. Gets down to the air. That cancels out. And that's gonna be Trevor and Koops focusing on Rebenga. Luxurious coming in from the river. He will now have the fly. Trevor, low on mana. Does he have the flash? He has the flash. He gets away. But will he survive near the turret? That's going to be NE. Closing the gap here. Calculated for the flash in. And that's going to be the kill.
My, he still gets it in the end with that last bit of ice right there, and that was a long chase, but definitely that was very well played from Naga. A little bit dangerous there by Rebenga to dive deep into that territory, and it still goes from my current point and how Tracker Snipe got deleted, so the warding from the junglers isn't as strong. So there he couldn't have placed even deeper vision. Definitely a lot harder, and I think that kill onto Iconic could have been prevented as well if Tracker Snipe still existed.
That's a bad trade for Iconic, but JLC, he will be going in.
Oh man.
Yikes, he went in for the turret range there. He gets a solo kill in the top lane.
That was a misplay right there by Iconic. The flash was gutsy. It could have worked.
It was gutsy.
It could have worked if it was not within turret range.
He went for the dive. He went for the risk. He was hoping that the vital spots will help him regenerate enough health to go for the trade here, but looks like bot lane heating up. But Rebenga again with the Predator. Marky gets chunked by Luxuria. And now Rox could be next, but he has his flash. He will back off.
The relentlessness.
Survives for now.
Yeah. The relentlessness coming from Luxuria and Neve, and they're going straight for the Infernal Drake right after. So just straight up snowballing their stats in this bot side.
This is Infernal Drake, Atlas. This is big.
Delicious. And Koops might be taking the red buff here to try and trade that off, but he's being pushed away. Iconic.
Again, he does have to repause. He does lunge away and gets the blast go for the save. Rumorp's coming in, guys. Here it is. And say hello to Koops. Smite there, but in the end, that's going to be NE. Trading it off with that Infernal Drake.
And I do think that is worth it. If it puts Luxuria ahead, it puts Calculated in a more favorable position as well after the kill he got earlier. Now, that Infernal Drake could be a little boost in those stats, but Iconic having a little bit of trouble here, and JLC really appreciates that kill and that assist. We know how scary JLC can get if he gets ahead in this lane, and look at how much he's applying here. Koops and JLC, they're working together. That is why Luxuria kind of has a lot more breathing space and room in the bot side. But in the top side, because JLC and Koops are working together, putting Iconic at a little bit of a disadvantage right now.
A huge disadvantage, I would say.
Yeah. To death, they can't possibly get first turn of the game.
And that's actually good news for TME, because note that all throughout the... is it all throughout the group stages? Because as I've been looking at the games and watching it, casting it, I see that JLC is hard carrying TME in a way that let him snowball and he will do his best to deliver tons of damage. We saw that with his Fiora. We saw that the potential comeback from TME could have worked because JLC was so fed, but in the end, it was NE being the most fed members equally divided, not just one member winning that game.
It's still going to be scary since Coops, I don't think he's doing a bad job here. I think he's doing great in terms of making JLC get ahead, because that is the strategic philosophy that I was proposing earlier. And the fact that JLC is getting stronger and stronger, he might get first turret, he gets that kill, that assist as well. And it's because Iconic is not a champion that doesn't fare well without items, without gold. That could put them in such a disadvantage when the teleport plays start happening, when the skirmishes around the top side start happening, when they start fighting around Rift Herald possibly, or even mid lane turret. That could mean the difference.
And we know that all throughout the group stages, Iconic has been playing on low econ champions such as the Maokai. One of his favorite picks here, one of the most picked in the top lane for Naga Esports top laner. But when you're facing against JLC, challenging JLC with a pick that requires a lot of gold, let's say a Fiora, very, very item-dependent champion, and now he is at 0-3. That would be such a huge obstacle for Iconic.
Man, they're giving JLC the... Okay, they didn't give JLC the solo gold right there.
But if he did get it, that would have been very juicy. But Marky is still not afraid. Rebenga has ganked him at least twice. But look at the amount of damage that this Callista is dealing.
Definitely painful. So Marky right now still has a big fighting chance, even at 0-2. And this is pretty good spot for TME. If even at 0-2, Marky can still fight back against Luxuria, even if they get this really big fight. That means JLC can pull even more resources towards him and just try and dominate the top half of the map here. They just really need to pressure Iconic even more. And now that that turret is gone, the threat of JLC going to other lanes or just continuing to slaughter in top side is very real.
Yeah, I gotta hand it to Marky. He is not afraid of a challenge. But you have to respect the fact that this Zaya has the BF Sword, the Clawfist Warhammer, the CS lead is all on the side of Luxuria. So if you're not careful and you are reckless, that's going to be a bigger deficit for you to overcome. So for TME, let's see what's their plan here. The top lane is looking really good.
Just looking good so far. And I think now that JLC has established that he has his Triforce at this point, that means Coops has a lot of free time to go to other lanes as well. I think JLC right now has reached a self-sufficient point. And now that Coops is more free to do other things, he seems to be posing for something in this bot side. Could go for a lane gank through the brush here.
Man, 24 is this early. That's very fast. And seeing how for Iconic's side, he does have the Tabby and the Tiamat, he will be going for the Hydra, but will it be enough facing off against a Camille with a Triforce this early?
Oh man, it's still very difficult for that, because he can't really move out of his turret range too far out of fear of being ganked too much. And as I've said, Tracker's Knife, because Rebenga can't put down vision for Iconic, he's a little bit more concerned about his safety in the top side. He can't have that security that Tracker's Knife used to give, that Rebenga could have put on that top side. So here's a little bit more cautious. If JLC comes up to him, he might need to retreat a little bit, maybe farm up the Krugs to fix that deficit, but it's still very, very difficult. It's really interesting how much vision factors in how these lanes go when you're behind.
Look at that. Knowing that for TME they have top lane, I mean, completely destroyed, we're seeing Trevor and Coops a bit more comfortable at this point, going for bot lane perhaps, but knowing how, looking at JLC, he is freezing the top lane, slowing things down here. Now
Rebenga,
he's putting attention to himself.
Could be very dangerous, but JLC smells that something is up. That is just good instincts from that top laner right there.
I mean, at this point, when you're freezing that lane too much, you would be aware that maybe I'm not drawing attention to myself.
Also, there was deep vision.
Yeah, we see a control ward on the red side of Naga Esports. Now JLC is farming under his turret. Now
This
we're
could still be
seeing
dangerous.
a potential dive. Here it comes. Okay, he gets suppressed, and there will be a teleport coming in. There's the only man, he does splash away, buying some time. Iconic taking some turret hits here. Trevor goes in with a teleport. He is here with a rise. He does get the root, and now there'll be another teleport coming in. Oh, forcing out a flash from JLC. Realmorph, will it be in time? Exactly on time!
Oh man, Naga Esports tries to go for something, but you see how JLC played that pretty well.
Lane to bot lane. That will be the monsoon for the heal. And now teleport is coming in. Now it will be Marky chunking down Nate with the Fate's Call, knocking him out. JLC with a teleport play and a tactical sweep for that slow. He takes the kill. Luxuria is down. And now for Nate will be the next target. Rocks picks it up.
Oh man, that's even more gold going to JLC, and then Marky gets a few assists here and there, stopping the momentum that Luxuria and Neep have gotten there. Oh man, Trevor.
This is actually deja vu. We did see this before. 3-man gag, 5-man gag. Why not invest that much member to get a kill? It'll be worth it in the end.
Possibly they could try and get some chunk damage onto this turret, but man, I have to praise JLC for his footwork in that dive. He survived for so long.
And he teleported too.
Enough for his teammates to come and help him. And that actually made the play bot lane possible for TME. And man, the coordination from TME, a lot better there in being able to work together to stop these dives. And just straight up, the decision to go bot lane immediately as soon as Marky is under assault here. Coops, a little bit dangerous right there, but he has to flag and drag to get him out.
Looks like the Eagles will be trading things off for the bot lane to the top lane. But seeing how the realm warp, the timing was there in just the nick of time, he survives and goes for the bot and secures a good bounty for himself.
Definitely.
And now, the question is, TME fighting against Emmy in the right ways, in that right time, knowing their limits. But now we're entering one of the delicate stages of the game where you have a good start. Can you maintain it? That's the question here, because the Infernal Drake is being eyed by Naga Esports.
Could be the next big fight here. Coops is really trying to get into the range where he can go for a knockup. They're just dancing around the dragon here. And look at mid lane, the push onto these minion waves.
They can't give away the second stack. That will be really, that would give the Eagles a really bad time. So don't give that second stack at all. They need to try and take it for themselves.
Rebenga pulling the trigger.
Okay, he gets DLC. He survives for now. Ultimatum knocks back the members of NE, and that'll be a knockback in. That'll be an engaged right in with the Cataclysm for that lockdown. Here comes Trevor and Marky doing the maximum damage. That is coordination coming from the Eagles.
Oh man, TME danced beautifully there. They were keeping Naga Esports around the pit of the Infernal Drake. And then the rest of their members were going actually for the mid lane turret. Naga, after the turret gets destroyed, wants some retribution. Rebenga pulls his trigger.
Okay, Fate's Call.
Oh man.
Gives him enough time to get into the gap. Now we see Nick low on mana. Can he commit to the fight? No, he backs off. But Coops is really low.
Still trying.
NE pushing back strong. Realm Warp, will it be in time for the great escape?
Oh man, and Naga Esports gets nothing from that. And I have to point out Luxuria diving between 4 members, trying to get a really good Feather Storm into Blade Caller.
But the lockdown was there for the Cataclysm, and the coordination for TME just shut him down.
And TME looking very good. A lot of recovery, a lot of improvement come from their last match against Naga Esports. They want revenge. They want to get into the semifinals. They don't want to lose right here.
And you're talking about the defending champions of the last split. So TME, they are shaping things up here. But for NE, note that they made it this far. Their journey throughout the group stages amount them to a quarterfinals. Getting a 2-0 against TME, they've done it before. They can try and do maybe another sweep, but that would be a tall order. At least this is a best of 5 series, Atlas. Anything can happen.
Definitely needs a lot of adaptation, the endurance as well. TME getting the Rift Herald here basically for free. They could lose his bot lane turret if you look at a minimap, as Luxuria and Meep are pushing it in, but this Rift Herald is a huge boon, and they give it to JLC, just a lot more dominance wherever he's pushing.
If you look at the clashes that has been happening all throughout Summoners, you can see that Rebenga, he prioritizes JLC, pulling him closer to his team. And what does that mean? JLC is just saying, why, thank you very much. I will take that offer and lock down your ADC.
Because so far, it doesn't seem like Naga has the ability to burst JLC down while he's being suppressed by Rebenga.
Bad.
Yeah, he's so fed. He has decent survivability here with a Ninja Tabi, as well as the health that he gains from his items. And the fact that the tactical shield he gets
that
is
hurts.
really big.
Surprise over that wall. The riposte
man, he
does
can't leave.
miss. He just burned the parry. Now goes in with the ultimatum. Does flash away. Goes back in with a hook. He gets an outplay here. Now Coops is here for the assist. JLC, he will not survive. That's sad. But Coops, he's now at a bad spot. And he can try and fight back. This will be them at least getting most of that value for a 2-for-1 trade.
And Neep does get the kill right there. It's pretty worth it here for TME if they get a good push onto boss side, even if it was a 1-for-2. But it seems like with Calculated, you absolutely cannot push against an Anivia. So they just have to transition to this mid lane to defend. Look at that. Outer turrets, rather the inner turrets of Naka Esports are pretty worn down in this mid side and the top side as well.
And at this point, the fact that we're seeing the mid laners right now is Trevor and Calculated building up the items, they will be a huge threat because especially this Anivia, knowing that we know the new hunting guys, the Leander's Torment has been changed with percentage damage over time, which is ridiculous. That really benefits Anivia a lot. And we're seeing so much mana. We know that the Seraph's Embrace, making to the Archangel Staff, gives so much mana and ability power. When it comes to the late game, we have to look out for Trevor and Calculated.
It's very scary indeed, and the longer the fight goes, the better that Leander's Torment gets. Stacking up to that 10% bonus damage, that's actually huge if you factor in.
And now we're seeing Calculated. He is actually building towards that. So expect that for any. They can go for long periods of fight. Just how TME can force them towards that spot. But now they have to be careful. They really have to be aware that at this point they cannot be reckless, because giving a 2-for-1 in that top lane could spell disaster, giving any more resources.
However, JLC is still very scary, and the fact is, I don't think Rebenga can afford to just impale JLC and pull him in if Naga can't kill him in time, because every time he succeeded in surviving because of a few things. One, the Hextech Ultimatum gives him some invincibility frames, so he does not take damage in that. So,
and get Goops, the jungler here. Teleport's coming in, and I think that will be a cancel there. Instead, JLC will be focusing onto the bot side. But again, that pressure that Rebenga has with his Impale is just a free kill waiting for NE. So TME, they have to be very careful.
They're dancing around the Baron right now.
Teleport is down. Oh god.
Oh, the wall, pretty good. Buys him a lot of time.
Trevor going in, trying to get some members down. Need with the Monsoon, trying to fight back. Marky with his Kalista. He will take down Marky. Next one is, oh my god, they're dying in the Baron pit. But where will the Baron go to? It will go to TME, rather NE.
Oh man. And at the end of that entire Baron fiasco, it still ends up as a 1-for-2. It seemed like it was ending very, very messily for both of these teams. Very scattered, very dangerous. But NE gets the Baron. They get what they came for, and they jump out. TME, they had a pretty good position in that Baron pit. However, that last hit onto the Baron went to NE, and they win that.
Okay, it will be NE securing the Baron. I am so sorry because to be fair, guys, when the fight happened, I think all of us was asking, ang gulo naman, who will take the Baron? And when I saw the Xayah, it kind of made me remember the time where Marky was known for his Xayah. So instinctively I said that, which is my bad.
Man. Signature champions.
Signature champions can really...
Well, look at that. Another Drake down, and that will be the Ocean Drake going to Naga Esports.
Well played. Because getting that Baron, getting the Ocean is what you want. And from that fight that TME forced, in the end, NE came out on top.
They lost 2 members, but that's irrelevant here. Now they get this Baron buff. They can defend against JLC's push here. All JLC can try to do is try and harass Iconic out of lane to get this Baron buff out of the minions, while the rest of Naga Esports can go for that huge push that they want. Calculated with a Baron buff on that Anivia, that's so much wave clear, and you cannot stop it, and you cannot push against them. And here, Luxuria and Neep trying to pressure this bot side. Perhaps Calculated and Iconic can make something happen in their respective territory.
And what happens when they have the Baron buff? looks like JLC will not be offering the same pressure he did. He will not be pushing out the lane as fast as he can. And now it'll be NE on the side, on the offense, pushing back against TME.
However, this Baron buff, they can't really use it in a totally dominating way. Because TME, they have pretty good wave clear. They have very strong champions right now. So if Naga Esports gets cocky and tries to go for a power push onto any of these lanes, TME can punish them very severely. So here, Naga Esports has to take it slow, look for opportunities to try and use his Baron buff to really apply pressure onto TME on lanes where JLC is not present in.
And that's what you want to look out for at this point. And knowing that the Baron buff is in the hands of NE, they are the ones in control. And the next Drake is the Infernal Drake. They picked up the Ocean, the third Drake of the game. And the second one for NE. Things are looking bad for TME. As I said, this is a delicate scenario for both teams where smallest mistakes, such as what happened in the Baron pit, can really lead to results that will devastate them.
You have to be very careful because it's reaching the point where Calculated deals a lot of damage, building up a lot of mana. He's 3-0-1. He has a fully stacked Roa. He's building into his even more core items here. He has the Archangel Staff. He will have the Andes Torment in a little bit, and that will be so much damage and control with a Glacial Wall, putting TME in a precarious position because of the terrain. It's like a mini Talia wall on demand.
And that will really cut off the members of TME. And right now, JLC, he does flash over that wall.
He can survive this.
Iconic will follow him through, and now we see Neep and Luxuria joining him into the red side of their jungle. 4 members were spotted in the top side of NE. Now TME, they are just trying their best to burn the Baron buff, and at this point, I think it did expire, and now they can be at ease. They can go for the same push they did before NE got that Baron.
Yeah, Naga had a little bit of breathing room right there. It might not be enough just yet to stop TME's momentum totally. Because right here, TME is still in a pretty good spot. They just have to avoid the problems they encountered earlier. As for Naga Esports, they can find holes in the defense of TME, but at this point, Calculated, they have to go for these longer, drawn-out fights where Calculated's damage can shine, his control can shine, where Luxuria can set up a pretty good wall of feathers to just absolutely destroy everyone. And it's a lot harder if Rebenga's job is to pull someone and they slowly DPS him down instead of bursting him.
And when it comes to NE, they have a lot of tools to control the fight. They have the wall, as you said, and not just that, they have to be careful of Luxuria's feather stacks. They have to be constantly aware of their position. But now, looks like TME, they're going into the spot. Troops trying to buy time. He gets caught by the Impale, cuts him out with that wall. He does pick it out with his combo, but in the end, Calculated will get the kill. All that for that Spire.
Definitely, that Spire was a lot of pressure, and Naga Esports really does want to fight around those spires, because where are the spires located? In these tight spots, or around the precarious areas of the river, such as the Baron or Dragon Pit. That's where Skarner can shine the most in terms of long-term combat. And in those tight spots, then this Anivia can just pull out so much damage and so much more control. Iconic. Ooh.
Talking about damage, look at JLC. Onto Iconic. JLC kiting out. Ooh! The launch didn't get the 1 Vials, but he's burning the ultimate. It ran out. Looks like JLC can really go back in. The stun. Oh! The parry will not get the stun.
Oh, man.
It did not block.
That is unfortunate for Iconic. He tried to go for another outplay with his flash, trying to go for a vital, get a little bit of healing, but it wasn't enough. Mistiming that riposte just ended him, and now TME, they can go for an assault onto this mid lane turret. It's so close to falling down, but as I said, Calculated, if he is near that turret, you will not take it.
And not just that. We saw that when it
now
came...
it's gone.
Now it's gone. So maybe now for TME, they can go for the push, but what happened in top lane was the time that the parry expired, that's the moment when the stun landed.
Yeah, and I
Imagine
think
that.
JLC had that timing as well, because you can choose to stay on the wall from your hook shot for a little bit, and that split second where he held it off to make the riposte wear off before he jumps in, JLC played that absolutely well, but Iconic could have won that fight.
Oh god,
Oh.
Monsoon, that's when he's engaged, and that would be the re-engage with the Cataclysm. Looks like two members have been locked down by Team and Ligas. Marky
Bringing up
stacking up
GLC.
the Ren stacks here. Oh, looks like, oh no, JLC did get impaled. He's trying to get there, and Trevor goes in for the backline, takes down Nave. Now he's aiming for Luxuria, but he does his best here with the Firestorm, going for the kill, going for the secure, and the cleanup here for the Demon and Eagles.
Oh man,
My
that
God.
is the Baron, definitely there. And TME gets this for sure this time with an ace. Naga Esports, they bumble right there around that pit. They get caught for so long, and while they're retreating and fighting back, trying to step back, JLC hits them from behind, and as soon as they think they've got JLC, he still has his stopwatch, and that gives them a little bit more time where he can take out the red wave. What is happening in this Baron pit?
He tried to help his teammate for the shield in the end, paid for his life.
They can still
Coops,
get this.
very low. Oh, the Ren! Finally, that was a heart attack waiting. Coops did not have smite there, but let's check the replay.
It looks like his Neep gets caught, so he has to burn a lot of resources here, which puts the two of his members here, Rebenga,
Oh my God.
as well as the top laner here, has to run away, calculated rather. So now he's in his egg form. He can't do anything at all. Trevor gets a good position with his Realm Warp, as JLC, as I said earlier, buys a lot of time with his stopwatch assault onto the back line. And they just clean up here, and luxurious damage is not enough at this point to clear out 4 other members of TME.
It's weird how that the members of TME, they are not really prioritizing Luxuria, and with Marky stacking up those Rens, immediately getting a triple kill. You saw the coordination from TME. Get the Cataclysm for the lockdown, go in with rocks with a knockup, and pull him back in with another knockup with the Fate Skull.
Yeah, just so much coordination. They do not inefficiently stack their CC, and Naga Esports positioning there was also very dangerous. Behind that wall means that they are in such great position there for the Cataclysm, for the knockups, and because Calculated got taken down there into egg form, he didn't mean anything in that fight after the initial blows of skill.
And now, things are looking good for TME. Now they have the Baron buff. Oh, that is a lot of damage there.
Yeah, I think they have been ignoring Marky for so much here. They've been putting so much attention onto JLC that they've been allowing Marky to just stack those spears up for those delicious Rens. And he deals so much damage with his autos as well.
And he has the QSS, same as Trevor. So they're not afraid. They're not afraid at all to just face and not really be scared of Rebenga's presence. Let's see. He has the Predator, yes, but note that for Trevor and Marky, having the QSS gives a lot of... Actually gives less choices for Rebenga and gives a lot of options for TME to pressure NE.
Seems like Iconic still trying to defend his mid lane. That mid lane turret has been standing for so long, but I think TME really wants to take it next. They are a little bit of under vision here, but they will definitely regroup here and try and take this mid lane.
And when you want that, take it away. But right at this point, we are entering our 32-minute mark here. Kill score 15-11. 2 Infernal Drakes for NE. This is great for Naga Esports because when it comes to late game, they will have so much damage. And knowing that, we are looking at the items here. Ooh, here comes Rebenga. Up to
Try and
rocks.
go for
He
it.
does not want to get caught.
Rocks. Going for rocks actually might be a good idea because part of the initiation that TME has depends on rocks as well. Coops might be a little too tanky for the impalement. However, putting out rocks could definitely put a hole in there. Oh, calculated.
So Rebenga gets locked up by the ultimatum, but the members of TME, they have other focuses going on for the backline, and Coops engaging with the Cataclysm, locking down 4 members, but in the end, it's just a trade-up of junglers.
And they're still going strong here with the Baron minion, with the dematerialized. Okay, that's the counter. Saving those minion dematerializers for the Baron up Baron of Command cannon minion.
That's a surprise. That was really a surprise there. My god, that was actually cute. Like,
They're still taking the turret very quickly though.
Looks like the sacrifice has not been in vain. JLC in the top lane pressuring Iconic and immediately chunks it down to his half health. Grand challenge is on, but it will not be enough. Precision is there on the Camille, and JLC takes down Iconic.
You see his life bar, it just disappeared, and now JLC is harassing Neve from within their base. He could pay with his life. He has a GA.
Guardian Angel's there. He will resurrect in time. Rox is here, trying to help his teammate out. Ultimatum's there for the long to JLC, making away. He's very low. Flash in. Luxurion takes the kill. And now, Fate's call for the rescue.
Pretty good there by Naga Esports to exploit JLC diving in too deep. They defend their inhibitors, but man, that is so painful coming from TME, especially JLC.
My god, that dive by JLC was spectacular, but in the end, it was a bit too greedy. But for any, they know how to punish TME for their greedy mistakes, and now that's one of the reasons why Eddie can still bounce back into this game.
Definitely. The gold lead at this point doesn't matter. It's just 4,000 gold at 34 minutes. It's really about where the gold is and how it's being used here on the kits of these champions. Because JLC, so much gold, has his core items, has the survivability that he needs. While Iconic at this point, he has to go for other items here. He has to go for this Executioner's Calling. Just really try and deny. He's behind 4,000 gold. So that's
huge.
One entire big item here that is lost to TME. As for TME, they've got pretty good distribution of the kills here.
If you look at the gold, note that the one snowballing at this game is just JLC. Look at that gold lead. But when you look at the other members, they're pretty much at an even pace. We're seeing 4 items onto the side of for Calculated. And as for Trevor, he was forced to get the QSS. So in the end, he only has 3 items. Now he finished up his, let's say, his Archangel Staff. He's building towards it, stacking towards it.
Yeah.
He has the blasting one, but that QSS takes away that spot of, that could have been an NLR, who knows?
Yeah, however, I think it's also in the kits of the champions they picked here. Yes, Trevor and Calculated. Oh, never mind.
Armed up, knocked up to the air. That'll be Calculated. Being locked that he cannot escape. They're focusing everything on the Calculated. Now he's in Act 4. Will he resurrect? Marky facing the members. They're flashing in. Gets the glance, but he is too ambitious. But Coops goes in onto Iconic. He takes him down. He's trapped. Pinned against the wall. Calculated back from the egg. Now takes the fight to his own hands. 2 members of NE down. Still, they will try and take this Elder Drake. Silver coming in. This will be GLC coming into the fight. He
denied.
Gets denied, but he has the hook. Romer coming in for the backside. Elder Drake very low. It will be the NE getting that Elder Drake. Rebecca takes it down here, but now it will be NE sweeping it out.
The
Trevor
damage.
takes him down. Rebecca's the only one remaining. Now Trevor chasing down Rebecca. He's too fast. He will not get caught.
Man, Rabanga has to run away from this. He does not have enough damage to fight off against Trevor, and that's one of the things I was talking about. He needs to recall here to try and defend this wave and escape Trevor's grass. He's still looking for him. I think he just bamboozled him right there, recalling just behind the Raptor camp right there, but that was very risky by Naga Esports and very decisive of TME to just exploit that. As soon as they start taking that Elder Drake, they go for that. And look at this, very good timing. TME, they have more members alive when Baron is up. However,
Rebecca eating so much damage with rocks, charming 2 members. And now Coop's coming in. He does have the Cataclysm ready, but Rebecca will be backing off.
man, this is going to be another Baron for TME since Naga can't really respond to that right now. Here, it's so difficult for Calculated to get this damage out because everyone just escapes the radius of his ultimate. Everyone has a mobility tool to escape that, and they can't really stay in they don't really stay in that choke point that they want. And here the fight is very scattered. Marky 2v1s here. He still dies, but he saves so much time here for the rest of his team to take down Iconic. And as soon as Rebenga, of course, able to take down Kus, but JLC is still alive. Trevor is still alive. So this is still a very good fighting chance. And they try to deny, even the ice wall gets denied by the mobility tools of TME.
They can just quickly bypass it.
And at this point, because there's no more egg, he just gets taken down. without dealing too much damage in that little fight there. And Trevor deals so much damage.
Remember what we said, Atlas? At this point, we gotta watch out for the Rise and the Anivia scaling towards the lake, and looks like Rebecca gets stopped there. And that will be the catch. Coops locking down three members. Chelsea joins in for the fun, but calculated with the damage from that Anivia, just chunks down Marky.
There we go.
That will be the double. That's going to be a triple, and that will be, oh my god, 4 members wiped out from the Baron Pit.
And they're going for top lane right now. Death timers at around 40 seconds to 50. They can take down an inhibitor and Nexus turrets with this time. Naga Esports, guess what they want? TME goes in instead of Naga starting to fight. What happened there was Calculated was able to deal his damage because TME committed to one spot. They go for the Cataclysm, they dive onto the targets, but Calculated is able to put out his damage at last in the crucial moment, going for an ace against Team Manila Eagles. What? They take this first game of this best of 5.
Well played by Naga Esports. Did you see the damage that Calculated did with that Anivia? I mean, clumping into one location is one thing, but staying there, that's just disrespect onto the Anivia.
I was thinking that Calculated's Anivia wouldn't be able to shine too much in this game because looking at the composition, it's Callista, it's JLC on the Camille. They can just move out of the range of the Blizzard. However, because JLC and Coops committed to that spot below Baron Pit, that means that was the perfect time for Calculated to put down his wall, block off all access. The Cataclysm helps him as well, and just deal so much damage.
Man, in the end, it all comes down to execution. And that, yeah, what happened there in the Baron Pit? The Anivia dealing so much damage. The hunting guys, we talked about this before, Atlas. There will come a point where the Anivia and the Rise will be the key factors, the key in winning that game. But it all went to Naga Esports. So congratulations to NE for winning game 1. Note that we are still at the best of 5 series.
Yeah.
So
it's just the first game.
It's just the first game, an opener.
Yeah. But it does set up the carpet for the rest of the games of the match.
So I think we'll be going into a short break. Moving on to game 2 of our match 1. We have been the Shoutcasters. My name is Vulcan. With me was Atlas. See you after the short break for the continuation of our quarterfinals of Naga Esports versus Team Manila Eagles. For the heal, and now teleport is coming in. Now it will be Marky chunking down Neve with the Fate's Call, knocking him out. GLC with a teleport play and a tactical sweep for that slow. He takes the kill. Luxura is down, and now for Neve will be the next target. Rocks picks it up.
Trigger.
Okay, he gets GLC. He survives for now. Ultimatum knocks back the members of NE, and that will be a knockback in. That will be an engage right in with the Cataclysm for that lockdown. Here comes Trevor and Marky getting the maximum damage. That is coordination coming from the Eagles. Trevor going in, trying to get some members down. Neve with a Monsoon, trying to fight back. Marky with his Callista. He will take down Marky. Next one is, oh my god, they're dying in the Baron Pit. But where will the Baron go to? It will go to TME, or rather NE.
Oh man. And then the end of that.
Monsoon, that's when he's engaged, and that will be the re-engage with the Cataclysm. Looks like 2 members have been knocked out by Team Manila Eagles. Marky stacking up the friend stats here. Oh, looks like, oh no, JLC didn't impale. He's trying to get there, and Trevor goes in for the backline, takes down Neve. Now he's aiming for Luxuria, but he does his best here with the Firestorm, going for the kill, going for the secure, and the cleanup here for Team Manila Eagles.
Calculated. Oh, never mind.
Armed up, knocked up in the air, down the Calculated, being locked and he cannot escape. They're focusing everything on the Calculated. Now he's in X-Force. Will he resurrect? Marky facing the members and flashing in, gets the glance, but he is too ambitious. But Coops goes in on the Iconic. He takes him down. He's trapped, pinned against the wall. Calculated back from the edge. Now takes to the fight.
Denied.
Gets denied, but he has the hook. Robert coming in for the backside. Alodric very low. It will be the NE getting that Alodric. Rebecca takes it down here, but now it will be NE sweeping it out. Trevor takes him down. Rebecca's the only one remaining. Now Trevor chasing down Rebecca. He's too fast. Olivia skating towards the lake, and looks like Rebecca gets stopped there, and that will be the catch. Coops locking down 3 members. Chelsea joins in for the fun, but Calculated with the damage from that Anivia just chunks down Marky.
There we go.
That will be the double. That's going to be a triple, and that will be, Oh my god! Floor members wiped out from the Baron pit!
And they're going for top lane right now. Death timers at around 40, but Calculated is able to put out his damage at last in a crucial moment, going for an ace against Team Manila Eagles. What? They take this first game of this best of 5.
Well played by Naya Esports. Did you see the damage that Calculated did with that Olivia? I mean,
I hear the birds sing. It's a sign he's giving me. Everything will be okay. Sometimes when I wake up and I'm wondering how my life would have been if I didn't sing, I get a little stressed out every now and then. The problems come and problems go when I'm around him. Blessed in the morning,